Hi there, welcome to Bitesize Piano. In this tutorial, I'm going to help you go over some ways to help fill and pad out and make your accompaniment sound a little bit more rhythmically, a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go through 3 different examples with you today because I do get these questions a lot when I have filmed a tutorial and I start to play around with the rhythm a little bit. It's difficult actually for me to explain what I'm doing because I just do it. So I'm going to do my best to try and explain a few ways to help you try and do what I do. And it's all to do with rhythm. So we're going to be talking a lot about rhythm today. I'm not going to use the same chord progression for every single one. I've picked 3 different chord progressions for each rhythm I'm going to go through with you. So the first one then is just your standard, just playing on the beat. This would sound something like this. So I'm going to use the your typical jazz 2-5-1 chord progression. So this is what it would just sound like, not doing anything rhythmical, just playing it simple on the beat, 4 beats in a bar, so like this. Really simple like that. And you know what, sometimes a piece of music does call for something to be simple, so I'm not saying you need to embellish and change the rhythm of absolutely everything you play. If it's just a solo piano and there's no drums or anything, the piano has to be the rhythm, it has to be the bass, it has to be the melody, it has to be the harmony, it has to be everything. Let's look at that then. So I'll just teach you what those chords were first of all. So I'm doing this based around the key of C, so there's no sharps or flats in there. So this would be more useful to someone if you can stretch, have a bit of a wider hand span, because obviously being able to have your fingers over more set of notes will give you a lot more options rhythmically. If you think of each of your individual fingers as like a drum kit element, the more fingers you have, the more elements you have. So the chords are D minor 7, so D's in the bass, and then D, F, A, C, so it's a D minor 7 chord. And then the next chord, you're just going to move that shape up basically, we're just playing 7th chords. To G, so G dominant 7, so that's G, B, D and F. And then C, major 7, so the first. So C, E, G, B. I'm gonna give an example of how I would maybe embellish this, and then I'm gonna try and explain what I've done. So I was trying to do a mixture of different things there. I'm going to tell you what I did. And this will kind of apply to the other examples I'm going to show you as well. If we just tap some rhythm, so the rhythm is just going 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, just played on the beat. So when trying to fill out a chord progression, a rhythm, you need to identify where the accent beats are. So in this case, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And you need to still keep those accent beats. So this is where I would play the full chord probably on those beats. So I'd go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then noodle around in between those accent beats, because those accent beats are obviously important. So there, if you can already tell already, I was using my thumb a lot for the in-between beats, so like alternating my thumbs. So if I try and do it slowly. And you can see I was just breaking up chords there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just using extra thumbs and just playing extra notes here. And then going up, doing the same thing. So this time I was using different notes in the left hand. So really it's just a matter of playing around yourself. I'm just trying to show you sort of slowly what I'm doing. But obviously doing that at speed, so, oh, what the hell's going on there? So, but yeah, that's all I'm doing. If I slow it down, I'm not doing anything that complicated, really. I'm just sort of repeating notes, like filling in with 16th notes. And then coming down here, we've got the C major 7. And you can see there I was adding some extra notes in the left hand there. And I'm sort of doing a similar thing each time. Another thing you can do is split the chords like that. Particularly sounds quite nice. And then back into the D minor 7. Another thing you could try as well is, obviously chord progressions go up and go down. So here obviously we've got the D minor 7. It's then going to go up like that. So the direction is ascending. So we're going. So you could lead upwards. You could break up the chords going upwards like that. Going down, because you're coming down, so it's helping lead the listener's ears into what's coming next. So breaking the chords up if you're ascending next, or breaking up the chords going down if you're descending to a chord. So just to conclude what we've done so far, establish what your accent beats are, and then have a go. You could try tapping first with just your fingers, or just like on your legs or something, before putting anything to notes on the piano. Establish what your accent beats are, and then fill in the rest of the time basically with extra notes that you're already playing. So I didn't use any extra notes there, just using the notes within the chord. I also included the 5th in the left hand there. So breaking up the left hand a little bit more, using your thumbs on whichever notes you're on in between the beats. I do that quite a lot. And then breaking up the chord leading up to a chord, or breaking the chord downwards leading down to a chord. Also, if you have the handspan, having your fingers over as many notes as you can obviously gives you more options to play around with different rhythms and different notes. So let's have a look at another option then and apply those to this next one. So this one is actually in 3 beats in a bar, and I've actually used the perfect example for this would be When the Party's Over by Billie Eilish. So I'm just going to use the chorus as the example. So it goes like this. So in terms of the timing, it's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If we were to add in some quavers, so going 1 and 2 and 3, and then swing it as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So to help you swing something, so it's almost like adding a little skip in the step, you could say the word Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty, Humpty, Humpty Dumpty, Humpty, Humpty Dumpty, Humpty, Humpty Dumpty, Humpty, Humpty Dumpty, Humpty. So again, what I was doing there, a similar thing to what I was doing on the first example, making sure I'm playing the full chord, if you like, on the accent beat. So the accent beats in this time would be 1 and 2 and 3 and. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and. Again, just really using my thumbs there. 1 and 2 extra notes in the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So there, if you're like having to repeat a chord, you could play the root note in between those chords. Again, we're just talking about how to fill out a chord progression. So as I said before, it's tricky for me to explain exactly what I do every single time because I don't do the same thing every time, but this is generally the sort of thing I do. It's about feeling a groove and again, just noticing where the accent beats are and then filling in around it rhythmically, just using notes that you have already there under your fingers. So that's that example. So the next one is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So this is really, really popular. I'm going to use the most common chord progression in pop music. So with this rhythm and this chord progression, this is what you hear in a lot of songs, and it'll probably sound very similar to you. Counting, I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that sounds fairly full in itself because you're repeating the chord more often. So that's I think that's why that one's so popular. It's got something going on there that's a little bit more rhythmical than just 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm gonna spread my hands out, spread my fingers out, so now I'm covering a full A minor chord, a full F major chord, a full C major chord, and a full G major chord. And then playing octaves in the left hand, and then adding the fifth in there sometimes as well. We could do a lot more in the left hand this time, so remember, we need to keep the accent beats on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So there, again, still playing the chord on the accent beats, but filling in and noodling around on the in-between beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then up to F major. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So again, just using these notes up here just to fill in the, I guess the quaver beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So still keeping the accent beats there, down to C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then down to G major. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll demonstrate now without talking. I hope that's been useful. I know it's not been incredibly structured, but it's, as I said, I find it tricky to explain exactly what I'm doing, but it is really just trying to gauge where the accent beats are. So if you listen to a piece of music, try and establish what the accent beats are, and then just noodle around with the notes that are already under your fingers within that chord, and making sure you're trying to sustain the accent beats as well. And then if you're able to spread a wider hand span, you have more options there with different notes, so it has more melody, it has a little bit more rhythm, and it really just about playing around and coming up with your own style and your own things that you quite like to do every time. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that it's useful. If you'd like to leave a piano tutorial request, you need to click on this video, which takes you through to my official request space. You do need to be subscribed. All requests are noted and considered, so I look forward to seeing you over there.